the forum at the topic on money, how to save money. Because I put some
Hello.
Sorry.
Now I'm clear?
Yes.
I don't know, I just bought today new few pairs of headphones and I don't know, it was the first attempt to check it out.
Okay, you were making a lot of noise. We heard about how many sets of radios or TVs. What were you listening to?
I was listening to a book, adopted book.
Okay, what is the book about?
It was about invention in the world, about the machine gun, just gun, about the who invented the just paper. It was Chinese. Another part of the book was about the traveling, the way how people started to travel to carry goods from one country to another country by using steam machine.
Okay, well, before we continue, one thing I would like to do is I would like to check to see how much of the vocabulary that we covered last time you actually remember. So, do you remember, Dope, when we said strapped for cash? What does that mean if you're strapped for cash?
I'm short of money.
Yes, good. Okay. And what about if you stretch your money? Oh, I've given you all the vocabulary. There you go. That's me again, not being very clever. Okay, so there is the vocabulary that we were looking at last time. Do you remember no free lunch?
Yes.
Yeah? So you don't get anything for nothing. Yeah? Okay. Now, there are a few other words that I put onto the topic, which I thought you might find useful when you're talking about money. I think it was something which I think maybe Gemma came up with about frugal. Yeah. So she's trying to save up for her own house. So she's actually finding it quite important to economize. So here are some words that we'll look at before we start reading. So if you don't spend much money, you might be frugal, or Pennywise, or penny pinching. You might be a miser like Scrooge. In fact, I should have put Scrooge in there. I don't know why I didn't include Scrooge.
Scrooge
McDuck. You know who Scrooge is, Dope?
Yes. It's personage from cartoon, Scrooge McDuck. Some person who doesn't willing to spend their own money.
Exactly. Yes. So we have Scrooge. We have being mingy, mean, cost-cutting, economized, or maybe we're just being prudent, which means what? We're being prudent. It doesn't have to be just about money. Does anyone know if you are prudent?
No, I don't know.
Sorry, I can't. I don't understand your question.
Prudent. Okay, I've given the game away.
Yeah,
it's
prudent.
when you're careful. So you might be careful with your money.
Yes.
Which then, if you're careful with money, might suggest you're being mean or frugal. But you can also be prudent in playing on the safe side. So you know what that means. Play on the safe side.
Yes, I think.
So if you play on the safe side, Daka, do you understand what that means?
Yeah. The
what do you
safe
think?
side. To
Not,
be. Hello?
not the same side.
To be prudent, you say.
So on the safe side is the same as prudent. So can you explain to Dope what that means?
To be prudent.
Yes, what does that mean?
Okay, I think it's to be prudent. I take it in a general meaning. It is to be careful, not to go very quickly on things. You have to reflect on things very much before you take an action, for example.
That's right. You're being safe. Yeah. So it can be on anything, really. Okay, and we have another word here, parsimonious. Okay, that's a very good word to describe someone who doesn't spend much money. Now, when I was talking to Filosio or Emmanuel, we were talking about long pockets and short arms. And this is apparently a very common phrase in Italy for somebody who doesn't like to pay for their things.
Yes.
So if you are buying a round of drinks, they are the ones who will stay always in the background. They don't want to pay. And I thought that was a very good comment. Long pockets and short arms.
Yeah, very good meaning.
Okay, now if you spend money like there's no tomorrow, what do you understand by that? I've given it away, haven't I?
You just spent all money that you have?
Yes, you spend money as much as you have without thinking about the future. So you might be spending your money and tomorrow you won't have enough to eat, but you don't care. So you might, well, to splash out actually doesn't necessarily mean that you're spending too much money. It just means to spend money. But when you squander, that means that you're probably spending more than you should. So most of these phrases are more to do with ways of saying spending money, but don't mean that you spend too much. Because you can blow money on something, it doesn't really mean that you've spent more than you should. It just means that it's an informal way of saying that you spent money on something. Okay, so I thought today, because there is a very challenging TED talk, the reason why it's challenging is the vocabulary is not particularly difficult, but the speaker speaks very, very quickly. So I thought if I read it first, after the session, then you maybe listen to it. It's not very long, but once you've read it and understood the meaning, you will probably find that it's not so difficult to actually understand it. Now, can you hear me? Because I can hear a lot of sound that is interference.
I hear you clearly.
Okay. Sounds like the wind in the desert or something. It sounds very good. Okay, Dope, would you like to start us off, please?
So So I want to talk today about money and happiness, which are two things a lot of us spend a lot of our time thinking about, either trying to earn them or buying to increase them. And a lot of us resonate with this phrase. We see it in religions and self-help books. Money can buy happiness, and I wanted to suggest today that in fact that's wrong. I am business. I'm at business school, so that's what we do. So that's wrong. In fact, if you think that you are just not spending it right, so instead of spending it the way you usually spend it, maybe if you spend it differently, that might work a little bit better. Before I tell you the way you can spend it, that will make you happier. Let's think about the way we usually spend it, that don't in fact make us happier. We have a little natural experiment. So CNN a little while ago wrote this interesting article on what happened to people when they win the lottery. It turns out people think when they will win the lottery, their lives will be amazing. This article about how their lives get ruined. What happened when people win the lottery is one, they spend all the money and go into debt, and two, of all of them, friends and everyone they have ever met find them and bug them for money. It ruins their social relationship. In fact, so they have more debt and worse friendship than they had before they won the lottery.
Very good. Very good. Now, up at the top, we had the word resonate. Do you understand what resonate means? So a lot of us resonate with this phrase.
No, this phrase just a lot of times show up in our life, and we question ourselves with that phrase a lot of times, right?
Yes, but the word resonate.
Resoning.
Resonate. So it's actually more to do with like music. In tune with. When we talk about something resonate, piano resonates with the music that you're playing on the piano, for example. And so we use that word when we're talking about agreeing with something. So up at the top there, it says that a lot of us agree with this phrase. Yeah. So people are trying to earn money, trying to increase the amount of money. So we agree that. We see that. And also, we also hear that people say that money can't buy happiness. And of course, this speaker is arguing the opposite, isn't he? And interestingly, he's actually at business school.
Yeah, I agree completely with the author of article.
So you would think that people at business would just be thinking of money, 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 money. Okay. So are there any other words in that paragraph that you're not sure about, Dope?
No, I think you have spotted
it was just that
single one that I wasn't sure about resonate, but other ones I get clearly.
This is one of the good things about these talks, because they tend to use the easier language, than if you were reading from a book, because they're actually speaking to an audience. Okay. Daka, would you like to read the next section, please?
Yes. What was interesting about the article was people started commenting on the article, readers of the thing. And instead of talking about how it made them it made them realize that money doesn't lead to happiness. Everyone started saying, you know what I'd do if I won the lottery, and fantasizing about what they would do. Here is just two of the ones we saw that are interesting to think about. One person wrote, when I win, I'm going to buy my own little mountain and have a little house on top. And another person wrote, I would fill a big bathtub with money and get in the tub while smoking a big fat cigar and sipping a glass of champagne. This is even worse. Then I'd have a picture taken and dozens of glossies made. Anyone begging for money or trying to extort from me would receive a copy of the picture and nothing else. And so many of the comments were exactly of this type, where people got money and in fact it made them antisocial. So I told you, it wins people's life and their friends bug them. Also, money often makes us feel very selfish and we do things only for ourselves. We thought maybe the reason money doesn't make us happy is that we are spending it on the wrong things. In particular, we are always spending it on ourselves. And we wondered what would happen if we made people spend more of their money on others. So instead of being antisocial with your money, what if you were more pro-social with it?
Very good. Okay, so Daka, when somebody extorts something out of you, so somebody, let's see, I'm trying to see where it is. Extort. Usually we talk about extorting money, but it doesn't have to be just money. What does extort mean?
Extort, I think it is to take in a villain manner.
Yes, it's if you take from somebody in a, well, we wouldn't say in a villain manner, but maybe in a criminal way. Yeah. Criminal. It could be. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be criminal because you can extort. It's like asking for something, but it's quite a strong way of
an obliging manner.
To force a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very strong way of asking. You're demanding, perhaps. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then if somebody bugs you, what does that mean? You've got all these people bugging you.
Bug, I think it is to bother you with things.
Exactly.
They don't, to bother you. Huh?
Yeah. Are there any other words in those paragraphs?
Annoy. Okay.
Was there anything there you didn't understand? You or dope? Are there any other words?
Glossies.
Okay, glossy. What does that mean? Glossy can mean different things.
Glossy can be magazine, for example. Glossy papers.
Exactly. And in that context, that's exactly what it is. But what else can be glossy? What is another meaning for glossy?
Photo.
Yes, but what is special about that photo if it's glossy?
Brilliant.
Sorry?
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, we're talking about shiny.
Shiny, yeah, shiny.
So you might have glossy hair, you might have a glossy finish to the photograph, or, like Dope said, a magazine. Yeah. So that one is a new one for me. I've never heard of that before. You know, you go to somebody, you're asking for their money, and they give you a photograph, and that's it. How do you feel about that? And I heard Dope laughing about the get into a big bathtub with money while smoking a big fat cigar and sipping a glass of champagne. You can almost imagine it, can't you?
Yeah, it easily.
Would you do that if you won the lottery, Dope?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No. It's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah. Okay, so Reem, can you read for us? Would you like to read the next section, please? Reem, are you able to read for us?
Hello?
Hello? Can you
Hello?
read the next section?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, we thought let's make people do it and see what happens. Let's have some people do what they usually do, spend money on themselves, and let's make some people give money away and measure their happiness and see if, in fact, they get happier. The first way we did this was one Vancouver morning. Vancouver morning. We went out on the comps at University of British Columbia. Approached people and said, "Do you want to be in experiment?" They said yes. We asked them how happy they were, and then gave them an involve. One of the involves had things in it that said, "By 5 p.m. today, spend this money on yourself." We gave some examples of what you could spend it on. Other people get a slip of paper that said, "By 5 p.m. today, spend this money on someone else." Also, inside the envelope was money, and we manipulated how much money we gave them. Some people get this slab of paper and $5. Some get this slab paper and $20. We let them go about their day and do whatever they want. We found out they did spend it in the way we asked them to. We called them up and asked them, "What did you spend it on? How happy do you feel now? What did they spend in?"
Sorry, Zaka, could you please put your mute your mic, and you too as well, Dope, because there's a lot of interference coming through. Did you understand that, Zaka? There was a big, there was a bit of a feedback howl. So can you please mute your mic when you're not speaking? That's better. So Reem, sorry, I interrupted you. Could you continue, please?
No, not a matter. What did you spend it on? These are college undergraduates. A lot of what they spend it on for themselves were things like earrings and makeup. One woman said she bought a stuffed animal for her nieces. People give money to homeless people, hug effect here of Starbucks.
Starbucks. Do you have Starbucks in your country, Reem? Do you know Starbucks?
I not really know what the meaning of Starbucks.
Wow, that's wonderful. There must be a few places left in the world where there is no Starbucks. Dope. Do you have a Starbucks? Do you ever go to Starbucks? Can you tell Reem what Starbucks is?
I am aware about that kind of cafe shops, but we don't have in my area something like that. We only have McDonald's, but Starbucks is a famous coffee
Okay.
cafe who provides with coffee.
That's right. But where are you? Are you in Moscow?
No, I am in Saratov.
Okay, because probably in Moscow and maybe St. Petersburg, I expect they have a few Starbucks. I know in Delhi, they're quite common.
I'm actually sure that they does it. They really do.
Okay. It's not as common in other countries as perhaps in Britain and America or even Europe. Starbucks is very common here in France too. But usually there are one or two you can find. I know in Delhi, I've sometimes gone just to use the internet because usually they have quite good free Wi-Fi. Okay, so Reem, what do you understand by the word manipulated? It was about halfway down. They manipulated, was it the amount of money they were given? So we manipulated how much money we gave them. What does manipulate?
Yes.
Yeah, Reem, what does manipulated mean?
Manipulated that the money say?
Yeah, but they manipulated the money. You can manipulate anything. Okay, you can manipulate anything you want. It doesn't have to be money. It can be people. It can be things. Okay, so it's the verb to manipulate.
That is many things, any things, maybe any things. You can sell any things in this money you want?
No, not really. As I said, manipulate could refer to anything. So it's how they manage the money that manipulate gives an idea. So to
manipulate people. Can I say?
Sorry.
Can I say what does it mean, manipulate?
Yes, sure.
When you manipulate with something, for example, with people, you force them doing what you want.
Exactly.
Maybe they don't realizing that they really don't want it, but you push them to it.
Yes. I mean, force is a stronger word. Persuade is perhaps a weaker word for the same when you're dealing with people. But here, it's just fixing it in a certain way, because if you're doing some wiring, you might manipulate the wires so that they bend in a certain direction. So manipulate has quite a general meaning. Yeah. Okay. Undergrads. Do you understand what undergrads mean, Reem?
Yes, I think it is before graduated from university.
Exactly, yes. And were there any other words that you weren't sure about, or anyone?
No, it's okay, thanks.
Okay.
Stuffed animal.
I noticed that she pronounced incorrectly the envelope several times.
Envelope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Envelope. But you all know what an envelope is, yeah? So we got all these envelopes with money in them and instructions what to do with the money. So some
Stuffed animal, Marianne.
stuffed animal. Okay. So do you know what a stuffed animal is?
I know stuffed, but stuffed animal, I'm not sure.
Reem, do you understand stuffed animal?
I think it is a two of animals or three, not only one.
Yeah, I mean, a stuffed animal, we're usually talking about a toy, yeah? So we're not giving an animal that is alive or even one that's dead, because that would be horrible. So when we talk about a stuffed animal, we know that it's a toy animal, yeah? So one woman said she bought a toy animal for her niece, yeah?
Okay. I thought it was an animal that is that is well fed.
Oh, no. Well, yes, it could be. It could be.
Yeah.
If you fed your dog too much, then the dog might feel stuffed.
Too much. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I notice that we seem to have two more people, except I can't see who they are. One has got TV as their sign. Who is TV? Okay, we got Ellie Cole, or is it Ellie Coley? Ellie, okay. Ellie, would you like to read the next section, please?
Well, it's a long part.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, would you
so
like
let's
to read to the bottom of the first paragraph where it gets to sorts of things if it's too long?
Okay, let's try. So if you give under what?
Go ahead, Ellie, please. Dope, can you mute your
starting
mic,
with a long
please?
word. So if you give underground that is $5, it looks like coffee to them, and they run over to Starbucks and spend it as fast as they can. Some people bought coffee for themselves the way they usually would, but others bought coffee for somebody else. So the very same purchase just targeted toward yourself or targeted toward somebody else. What did we find when we killed at the end of the day? People who spend money on others got happier. People who spend it on themselves, nothing happened. It didn't make them less happy. It just didn't do much for them. That's it for now, okay?
Okay, so would you like to read the next paragraph down to sorts of things? Ellie?
What?
Do you want to read the other things? The other thing we saw?
We saw in the amount of money doesn't matter much. People thought $20 would be way better than $5. In fact, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. What really matters is that you spend it on somebody else rather than on yourself. We see this again and genuine. We give people money to spend on others.
Hello, Ellie. Are you there? Oh, we have a problem. Okay, so I'll just finish that. You can see that. So what really matters is that you spend it on somebody else rather than on yourself. We see this again and again when we give. Hello, you disappeared.
Yeah. Okay. Explain.
Okay. So, do you want to finish that paragraph?
For the first time, I think it's enough. Because,
okay. So I'm still asking who the person is who I can't quite see on the screen with TV, a purple TV. Who is this? I'm mystified. Thuino, is that your name? Okay, Thuino, would you like to read from The Other Thing We Saw? Do you see that text? The other thing we saw is the amount of money doesn't matter much. So, Toivoy, are you there?
I think he's not with us.
Yes, no?
He's busy with doing something else.
Okay. Okay, so Dope, would you like to take over? Could you read from the other thing we saw is the amount of money.
The worst thing we saw in the amount of money doesn't matter much. People thought $20 would be way better than $5. In fact, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. What really matters is that you spend it on somebody else rather than on yourself. We see this again and again when we give people money to spend on instead of on themselves. Of course, these are undergraduates in Canada, not the world's most representable population. They're also fairly wealthy and affluent and other sorts of things. We wanted to see if this holds true everywhere in the world or just among wealthy countries. So we went to Uganda and ran a very similar experiment. Imagine, instead of just people in Canada would say, name the last time you spent money on yourself or others. Describe it. How happy did it make you? Or in Uganda, name the last time you spent money on yourself or others and describe it. Then we ask them how happy they are again. And what we see is sort of amazing, because there is a human universal on what you do with your money. You really cultural difference on what you do as well. So, for example, one guy from Uganda says, I call this girl I wish to love. They basically went out on a date, and he says at the end that he didn't achieve her up till now. Here is guy from Canada, very similar things. I took my girlfriend out for a dinner. We went to movie. We left early and then went back to their room for cake, just a cake.
Okay, so Dope, when it says you target yourself towards yourself or somebody else, what do you understand by that?
The first part of question disappeared.
Yes.
I didn't get
yourself.
Target yourself. Just trigger yourself, it means when you just. I would like to refer to the gun. When you just trigger that piece of metal, you just
Well, not
exciting.
quite, because trigger is more to do with shooting of the gun, but but aim perhaps. So if you target and aim. So if you're targeting yourself, you're thinking of yourself, yeah.
Okay.
And if you're affluent, what does that mean? Affluent.
I think it's just another way to say that you're wealthy.
Yes, that's right. And also, right at the bottom, it talks about universals. Okay, there's human universals on what you do with your money.
I am a little bit confused also with it.
Okay, think of universe. What does universe mean?
Worldwide?
Universe.
Beyond our planet also.
Okay.
Include every single planet.
Exactly. It includes everything. So when we're if we talk about something being universal, it means it includes everything. So it's general. Yeah. So there it's a fancy way, if you like, of saying there are, although you've got cultural differences, but you've got human things that are general to all humans. And we have a lot in common, I think. So, what do you think of this idea? So in Canada, they worked out that these students seemed to be happier when they were buying things for other people, spending money on others. So they wanted to make sure that this wasn't just because Canadian students are quite wealthy and comfortable. So they went to a poor country, try out the same experiment. So there you've got something that's quite similar, haven't you?
Yeah.
And when you spend money, what do you find you get most out of? Do you prefer spending money on other people or on yourself?
I think it has changed during the time. Maybe when I was younger, I preferred to spend on myself before I fulfilled my cup of desire. But now when I have the opportunity to share, it gives me a much more satisfaction.
Okay.
To make people happy.
So you now quite happy to spend money on others, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thuvo, would you like to read a little bit? Or are you just listening? No, maybe not. Okay. Okay then. Daka, would you like to read the next paragraph, please?
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So Thuvoy, are you with us?
Helen.
Hello. Would you like to read, or are you just listening?
I can read.
So if you would like to read the last paragraph that I've put, we got data. Yeah. Would you like to read that for us?
Yes, I can see it. Can I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. We got data from the Gallup origination, which you know from all the political polls happening lately. They asked people, did you donate money to charity recently? And how happy are you with life in general? We can see what the relationship is between those two things. Are they positively correlate? Sorry, I can spell it. Giving money makes you happy. Or are they negatively misunderstand.
Correlated.
Correlated, right?
Correlated, yes.
Correlated. On this smart ring will mean they are positively correlated. Red means they are negatively correlated. And you can see the world is crazily green. So in almost every country in the world where we have this data, people who give money to charity are happier than people than people who don't give money to charity. I know you are looking at the rest country in the middle. I would be a judge and not tell you what it is, but it's Central African Republic. You can make up story. Maybe it's different there for some reason. Just below that, to the right is Rwanda. Talk with a amazingly green.
Thank you very much. Now, of course, we are at a disadvantage. When you actually watch the TED Talk, you will see the charts that he's talking about. So he's pointing to the world and the different countries. So here it's just the description. So what do you understand by Gallup?
Gallup.
Do you have Gallup working in your country?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you have any idea what it might be?
Sorry, I cannot understand you.
Okay. So we have it. It's a polling organization. Now, usually, and in fact, right now, today, is a general election in Britain. So everybody is going to vote for the next government. But for the last few weeks, there have been polls, Gallup and many other companies that have been taking political polls. So it's not the same as an election because the result doesn't mean anything. But they are asking people, yeah?
Yeah, keep going.
So they are asking people to get an idea of how they will vote. So this American who is giving the talk, Canadian, he got a lot of data from a similar organization. And they were asking the question, did you donate money to charity recently? What is a charity?
Yes, I am. Yes, I know charity, and when I study in school, I have some action for charity. So not donate money, but it's some stuff for the local. Where I live.
Can you give an example of a charity? What was the charity doing? What was the work it was doing?
It's support for some child with a homeless or cannot go to school.
Okay, so what, it was helping the school, yes? So when we talk about a charity, it's a good cause, it's giving money to something which will help people, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you had a problem with correlated.
Correlated.
Do you know what correlated means?
No.
Dope, do you understand, Daka? Ellie?
Yes, if correlation, it's just if you two things correlated, there is a lot of similarities between them.
Yeah. So there's a relationship. So we talk about something has a positive relationship, positively correlated, a negative, then it's really not as okay. Are there any? Oh yes, I wanted to say, what is a jerk? So if you call me a jerk, don't. What is a jerk? You seem to know. You're laughing.
I don't know.
Are you a jerk?
No, I don't think that I am.
A jerk, yeah, it's someone who maybe make you afraid.
No, not afraid. Do you know what a jerk is? Anyone? It's very American. It is 100% American.
An idiot.
British people
An
do
idiot.
not. Yes, exactly.
Oh
It's
my
an
God.
idiot. A stupid person. Yeah. Okay. So
it's the opposite from collected.
sorry?
No? It's can be a correlated relationship with two idiots, yes? With two jerks.
Yes, but we don't want to be rude.
No.
I mean, you know, but
No.
yeah, if somebody is a jerk, they're really stupid. So Eli, would you like to read us this paragraph, please? I don't think it's too long. No, it's not too long. Can you manage that? If you can't, just shout and then Daka can take over, okay? Eli?
You mean me, Ellie?
Ellie, sorry, I thought it was Eli. Okay, Ellie.
Oh, you mean me? I didn't understand you. You mean me?
Yes, I mean you.
Okay. So if you're asking, because I'm with my phone, it's a little hard for me, but never mind. Okay, so almost this part.
So almost everywhere we look.
Okay, so almost everywhere we look, we see that giving money away makes you happier than keeping it for yourself. What about work, which is where we spend the rest of our time when we are not with the people we know? We decided to infiltrate some companies and to a very similar thing.
Yeah.
The success is in Belgium. They work in teams, go out and sell to doctors and try to get them to buy drugs. We can look and see how well they sell things is a function of being a member of a team. We give people on some teams some money, spend it wherever you want on yourself, just like we did with the undergraduates in Canada. To other teams, we say, here is €15, spend it on one of your teammates, buy team something as a gift and give it to them. Then we can see we have got teams that spend on themselves. Pro-social teams, we give money to make the team better. The reason I have a ridiculous peanut, there is one team pulled their money and post a peanut. They smashed the peanut, the candy fell out and things like that. A silly trivial things to do, but things of the difference on the team that didn't do that at all. That got €15, put it in their pockets. Maybe burst themselves a coffee, or teams that this pro-social experience where they bonded together to buy something and do a group activity. What we see is that the teams that are pro-social sell more stuff than the teams that only got money for them.
Very good. So, Ellie, you were worried about reading the longer paragraph before, but there was no need to worry. Infiltrate. What do you understand infiltrate to mean? It was near the top, I think. So they had to...
There's a few difficult words here.
Yeah, it's we decided to infiltrate some companies.
To infiltrate, what mean
So what does infiltrate mean? Yes, I'm asking you.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Ask Google maybe.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
So Zaka, do you know what infiltrate means?
Yeah, I think it is to enter in the company, but without letting people know it.
Yeah, yeah. It's to penetrate, to go into something, but usually you're hidden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I will give you the Pinata because I didn't know what this was. This is perhaps Spanish because I see the N over the N, which suggests this is a Spanish word. Okay, so it's Pinata, and it's a figure containing toys and sweets, which is broken by children as part of the celebration. Do any of you ever have this celebration? It's not a British celebration. I don't know it. Does anyone know this celebration?
Celebration. No.
No? Okay, so that's
Me neither.
what the Pinata was about. Okay.
Marianne, excuse me, I can't, I'm not getting your messages. Even the last paragraph, I can't get it.
Are you sure it's not a problem scrolling down? I think that's the most common problem. Because I think everyone else can see them.
I think maybe it is a problem with my connection.
Can you see what I've just put now?
No.
Okay, because I was going to ask you to read it.
Call me a jerk is the last message I got.
Okay. You don't see one way to think of it. Dope, can you see the last paragraph I put?
Yeah, every single piece of your typing, I see.
Okay, so could you read one way to think of it?
Yeah, one way to think of
I
it.
have the text, please.
You have it now, do you?
No, I don't have it, but I have the text on my screen.
Yeah,
I can't read.
Okay, maybe we'll let Dope read because otherwise you won't know where to stop.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
One way to think of it is for very 15 euro you give people for themselves. They put it in their pockets and don't do anything different than before. You don't get money from that. You lose money, since I don't motivate them to perform better. But when you give them 15 euro to spend on their teammates, they do so much better on their teams that you actually get a huge win on investing this kind of money. You're probably thinking to yourself, this is all fine, but there is a context that is incredibly important for public policy, and I can imagine it would work there. And if he doesn't show me that it works here, I don't believe anything he said. I know what you're all thinking about are dodgeable. Tim, this was a huge criticism that we got. That if you can't show it with dodgeable teams, this is all stupid. So we went and found this dodgeable teams and infiltrated them and did the exact same thing as before. So we give people on some teams money to spend on themselves. Other teams we give them money to spend on their dodgeball teammates. The teams that spent money on themselves had the same winning percentages as before. The teams who give the money to spend on each other become different teams. They dominate the league by the time they are done. What does it mean, dodgeball?
Okay, I don't really know the sports of the game, but it's some sort of American ball game, probably like, I don't know if it's like football. I really don't know. I'd have to Google it. But it's a game, again, that British people do not play. It's one of the American games. In Britain, we don't really play that much basketball, volleyball. I mean, it's played, not in the same way as the US. They play baseball. We don't. Baseball's a bit like, they call it rounders, but and cricket. Yeah. Are there any other words you weren't sure about there? So.
No, I think everything is clear for me.
Okay. Now we're over time, but there's just one last paragraph. So, Daka, if you are able to see the last paragraph, we are now looking at right at the end, from across all these contexts. Can you see that? Daka?
Excuse me, one way to think of it is, hello?
Hello, no, across all these different contexts.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, across all these different contexts, your personal life, your work life, even things like intramural sports, we see spending on other people has a bigger return for you than spending on yourself. So if you think money can't buy happiness, you're not spending it right. The implication isn't you should buy this product instead of that product, and that's the way to make yourself happier. It's that you should stop thinking about which product to buy for yourself and try giving some of it to other people instead. And we luckily have an opportunity for you. DonorsChoose.org is a non-profit for mainly public school teachers in low-income schools. They post projects like, I want to teach Huckleberry Finn, and we don't have the books. Or I want a microscope to teach my students science, and we don't have a microscope. You and I can go on and buy it for them. The teacher and the kids write you thank you notes. Sometimes they send pictures of them using the microscope. It's an extraordinary thing. Go to the website and start yourself on the process of thinking less about how can I spend money on myself, and more about if I've got money, $5 or $15, what can I do to benefit other people? Ultimately, when you do that, you'll find you benefit yourself much more.
Very good. Okay. Were there any words there that you weren't sure about? I put intramural because that's also very American in the sense it's used to refer to something that happens within a particular a college or a university. It's not a word that we would use in Britain.
What is the word? What word are you speaking about?
Intramural.
Intramural, yeah, but yeah. Okay.
Were there any other words you weren't sure about?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. Well, what I will do is I will put this all on the forum, And the links, so there's the link to the TED Talk. As I said, he speaks very fast, okay? But you've actually read the text, so you might find that you will understand it much more easily because you know what he's talking about. Or if you find it still quite hard, then have the text in front of you when you're listening, because then you will probably find it very easy to understand. Yeah? Okay then. So, Dope, you're a regular. I want to know what sort of topics you would like to read about. So if you want to send me any ideas for the following weeks, then that would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it, but honestly, I read a lot on my own. I think we should just post some article before the session and just discuss this article during this session, because
yes, that's a
I
good
think
idea.
this reading the article during the session is just wasting time. I think.
Well, of course, the idea, I think, is not only checking vocabulary, but it's also the pronunciation and how you read. And I've noticed that even in the short time that I've been talking with you, Dope, that your reading has improved when you read aloud. And I think, again, it's one of the things that is by practice. Yeah. So many students are taught English, but they are not really taught to open their mouth. Is that the case with any of you? Have you got teachers who you don't get a chance to actually speak at all in class when you were at school?
When I was at school, I didn't attend any language classes.
Okay, so you didn't learn at all at school. But what about the others of you? Did you learn English at school?
Yeah, I learned English at school with professor who were not native speakers. So I think it's very different.
And what about you, Ellie? What is your experience of learning English?
I learned all of this by myself, not at school at all, just alone, with the features internet, things like this.
Okay, yeah. So
Not
again, that's hard, isn't
Can't
it?
hear you.
It's very hard.
What? Yeah, it's very
Okay.
hard because I start from the start in by myself. Yeah, the reading, the sentence, the talking, the rules, everything.
Okay, and what about you, Thovoy?
Yes.
Hoi.
Technically,
Sorry?
yes.
Yes, so how were you, okay, which country do you come from?
I come from Vietnam.
Vietnam, okay.
Yes, sir.
So at school, do the teachers have you speak very much out loud in the classroom?
No, just grammar, and grammar.
Okay. Oh my God. Yes. Grammar.
Yeah.
It's not
And-
good
Yeah.
to learn a grammar.
It is good, but you need to practice all of the different ways of learning a language. So you need to speak, you need to listen, you need to
So
read
because
and
that,
to
okay,
write.
we have learned. Because that we have learned, no? These sessions.
Well, that's right. And that's why it is useful for you to have a chance to not only practice just speaking, but also reading, so that you are concentrating on how the words sound. When you're speaking, you're thinking more about what is the meaning of what I want to say. So you might not always give so much attention to the way the word looks like and way it sounds. Yeah. So,
Marianne?
but I think that Dope's point is very good. And what I will try and do in future is I will try in the morning to put an article that we will then be looking at. We will read it and we will discuss it and then read some of it together. How does that sound? Do you think that would be a better way to do this?
Sounds amazing. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. But with what you have already done, the subject is very interesting. I think the other day and today, what you have been learning is very interesting. And personally, for example, I'm not. I don't agree with some of the result here or the outcome. Because I know maybe also experience here in Africa, for example. It will be interesting to discuss in this subject.
Okay,
okay.
we can do that. We can do that.
About.
The idea that money can buy happiness. Now, I've got a lot to say about this subject, and I think it's a very good one for discussion. I would like to perhaps even find more of the TED Talks, because of course that gives you the opportunity to listen as well to somebody reading the text or giving the speech. And listening skills are something which also are very difficult unless you can hear English all the time. And some of these, as I said, are quite fast. So if you've got the text in front of you, they will help you. So I think that will be what I will do for going forward for next week. And we will stay on this subject. Okay, Daka? And I will also try and find some material.
And even the first subject, how much money do I really need to live? It's interesting too.
Okay, I have an interesting movie which maybe Dope has seen a while ago, a year or so back. It's a video about living in Nepal and how to live on $1 a day.
Okay.
So we can have a look at that because that's very interesting, especially in the context of poorer countries. Yeah, because I think all of you, Ile, now wait a minute, is it Eli or Ile?
Yeah, Ellie, exactly.
Ellie, which country are you from?
I'm from Israel.
From Israel, okay. So you are perhaps from the richest country of the four of you.
What?
You're from the richest country, yes? Okay. Because Russia, Senegal, and Vietnam, well, they're not as poor. Maybe Senegal is the poorest, but Israel is definitely a rich country. But anyway, I think you will probably find it interesting in any case. Oh, your connection is definitely the poorest, though.
I beat him there.
A rich country?
I beat him there.
Oh, Dakar is
from
Senegal.
But I don't see the money. Where can I find the money?
Anyway, we're way over time, and I know that there are other sessions probably. So I'll see you again next week. Tuesday and Thursday are the times at 5 till 6. And then Wednesday we talk about a movie or a series or something like that. So I'll see you all next week.
Yes, see you. It was an amazing session.